Hi everyone. So, I resumed this art project today, and this is where it started. So this was, I think, the first piece I colored, and I colored it with the materials that came with the kit. Now, what am I doing in this video? I decided I wanted to work on my fine detail brush strokes with like the fine detail brushes I have. So I figured, why not take a customizable puzzle, which I found at the dollar store, and use my fine detailed brushes and paint each piece one by one to practice that skill. So, the first piece I did, I tried it with the materials that the kit provided, but they're dollar store markers. They didn't do what they they, like, you get what you pay for. So, yes, this is the first piece that I was painting. And then this is what it looks like with the markers that were provided in the kit. Didn't like it, so went over it with paint. Alright, I gotta go and find the next few photos. Oh, did I mention this puzzle? It was the smallest amount of pieces I could find for a customizable puzzle. Has 500 pieces. 500 mini little canvases. So, yes, this is going to be a lengthy project, but it's going to be so cool when I put it together, and I'm probably going to, now I don't do this with most of my puzzles, but for this one, I'm going to, once I complete it, I'm going to seal it with some puzzle glue, because it's going to be a lot of work to put it together with every piece looking different, and so the pieces that are supposed to line up are going to be a little bit odd, and they might not always line up with color because I did them on different days at different times, and I didn't separate the pieces beforehand, but I wanted this to be really random, and this is as random as it is. I just take a handful of pieces out of the bag, place them in my tray, which is actually a wooden canvas from the dollar store, just flipped over, and paint like so. So, and when I don't know what colors to pick, I just go, okay, I'm going to go with the colors of the rainbow, and I'm going to start with red, then with purple, and then I go the pinks, the browns, the silvers, the golds after that, and then I repeat the pattern, because I don't know, like, I'm like, oh, what color do I do? What color do I do? Just pick one. So I often go with the colors of the rainbow when I'm indecisive about the color. So this is what the pieces look like up close as they come together. This is the first coat. So I did do multiple coats, and this I made so long ago that I don't remember how many coats each of these pieces took. But I started it March 31st of 2024, and I resumed this project today, which is January 26th, and I started resuming this today around, what is it, 2:25 p.m. So, but this is what the pieces look like. Clearly they need multiple coats and everything, and there were some pieces that were like a real challenge, even with my fine nibbed, or fine tipped, fine and, the fine paintbrush, for like fine details. So there is what they look like once painted here. And I do multiple coats on some of these. Just don't remember how many coats. These ones definitely that you're seeing right now need multiple coats because I'm using cheap paint. Clearly, I was using cheap paint for that. And they were very watered down kind of paint. This is what the ones that aren't finished look like right now. In the next photo you'll see there's some color added to these. And so I hope you enjoy that. Alright, now let's unzoom and go. My cat's joining me for this one, clearly. She likes sitting on my lap. So, this is what they look like once they've had a couple more coats, I think. Maybe one more. I don't know. I can't remember the amount of coats I've done. I did these. I worked on these like a year ago. So, here's what they look like. This is going to look crazy when I put it together, and it's probably going to be one of the most difficult puzzles I've ever done because of the way I'm doing it. But that's why it'll be done once and only once. So I will seal it with like a puzzle glue at the end and put it in a frame. I'm doing this to practice the skill. So it's gonna look crazy together. Colors are not gonna match up, but I'm gonna try my best when it's time to put this together. So this is probably like the first 100 or so pieces to do. And there's 500 total. So hopefully Dollarama, I picked up a set that has all the pieces in it. Because that'll suck if I've done the entire puzzle and I'm like, oh crap. Where is that piece? Where is that piece? Like, to do all that work and have it missing a piece, that would suck. So, knock on wood. I've knocked on wood that doesn't happen. But here it is. It's kind of blurry here. So I don't know what happened with my camera there. Maybe it's just because it's zoomed in. But this is what the pieces look like as they get painted. Now, comment down below if you're an artist. Would you ever do this to practice a skill? Because I'm curious. Am I the only one who's willing to try this activity out? Now, and again, didn't separate these based on where they are in the puzzle. So this is going to look, probably look like a hot mess when it's done. But anyway, that is what that piece looks like. So I have these ones here. And zoomed in here. Just looking at them as they come together here. Now I resumed this this activity with a different kind of paint in the form of paint markers. Because my paint markers I now have a brush nib. Woohoo! In the past, they just had the bullet nib ones, which I did try on bigger areas, but it was a lot harder to get precise and in like little spaces, you know, with like my regular paint markers I had at the time, so I just didn't bother with them. Plus, I wanted to use up my paint so I could get more when I did these. And a lot of this, I'm using cheap paint, like dollar store paint, and everything, so that is what they look like. Alright. Seen them up close. Okay, next piece. So, this is what it looks like up close here. As you can see it come together. There we go. Just see the little paintings come together. If I can't paint with like a detailed brush after this, I don't know what I can do to practice the skill. Like, I have 500 mini canvases to try. So, I better be good at it by the end of this project. And yeah, I did cheat a little bit by using paint markers and everything, but I didn't feel like getting out all my paints. It's a lot to get out. Like, when you paint, it's a lot of materials to get out. And I didn't want to be, like, just in the basement all day. I have family over. So, well, not over. I still live with my family. So, my family was off today. So, I didn't want to be, like, all, like, in the basement. You know, in my room doing this all day. So, this is the project as it is right now. All right, just getting a sneak peek of the next photo so I don't, you know, show any photos of people who don't want to be on camera. So here is what it looks like as of this moment. These pieces look like this. And again, in case you haven't catch this, these are the same pieces I've showed you the entire time, just as they get painted and coats get applied and everything. So I will tell you, you will see these pieces on like a plastic on like that plastic sheet that you would use for diamond painting. Like I had leftover ones and I put these on that plastic covering so that I could spray them with a spray-on Mod Podge, an indoor spray-on Mod Podge, and everything. So there's that. Man, I say and everything a lot. I'm sorry. There. So these coming together here. And for some of these I did go over the lines that had been hidden a little bit by the paint, the black lines, and like outline them afterwards. But that was after I was done painting these pieces project. So this is what they look like so far. All right, more pieces. Okay. All right, now here is what they all look like. All together here with the paint applied. I really hope that I've been keeping these ones that are done in like a Ziploc bag for the past year, that they haven't stuck to each other, you know? I mean, I did put a coat over them, but I really hope that with weather shifts and stuff, it is not sticking to each other. They're not sticking, the pieces aren't sticking to each other. But I needed somewhere to put them. I couldn't keep them out. I needed to do more. So this is what they all look like. Pretty much the final result. I think that's after I've added the black lines to complete them. All right. Oh, and now this is the picture where I have sprayed them with the Mod Podge. And so, as you can see, I've used parchment paper so that they don't stick to my table. And then, oh, yeah, and then I used a leftover plastic sheet from a diamond painting for these ones, for the ones on part of the screen. The ones on the clearer piece. Now, this is taken a picture of when the glue was still wet, so that pooling does disappear when it dries. The pooling on the pieces. So, that is what they look like. Alright, I'm going to pause and find the next group of photos. And now we're on present day. So this is what all the pieces, the new pieces look like. Now, the blank piece at the bottom row, actually, there's two of these. Okay, so this piece here was the last piece I completely finished. The other pieces, these pieces are completely empty. These three I have not painted on, but the rest of them have at least some paint on them at this point. So that's how much I did in one day. So this is what they all look like. Blank, clean canvases here for me to work on. And these I did with paint markers. So yeah, a little bit of a cheat, but I have 500 of these to do. So I think a little cheating here and there is okay. Alright. So these are the pieces I have to do that I did today when I'm filming this. So, and the first piece I worked on, I started it at 2:25 p.m. I'm making this video and it is currently 10:16 p.m. So, been working quite a bit of the day on this. So, watching shows with my family. I needed something to do to fidget. And so this is what they all look like. Blank canvas. And next, as I put them together, as I paint them. So these, I'm using the Craft Smart paint markers for these 6 here. And I did these 6, and then I went with the next color in the rainbow. So I'm calling this one red. I'm calling it red. It's kind of a metallic, so I'm calling it red. I hadn't activated my red, my newest red paint marker from this brand. So this is what I'm calling red, because I didn't want to activate a new one. So I just wanted to use what I currently had. So this is a metallic red that I was using here. Next, we got our orange. Again, there. Seeing those images there as it's coming together. The leaves are like, depending on the size of the nib, can be easy or difficult. But they're kind of like a medium difficulty, the leaves on the corners here. Like you see that that leaf on the corner of that piece. That's all red. Yeah. So next, I did some yellow and green. Did the yellows and greens now. I didn't have a yellow in my Craft Smart that was activated or small enough to do this part. So I went with my new fine nib. Well, not sparkly Posca pens. What were their... I can't remember what the nib size was, but it was a thinner nib than your traditional Posca marker for that. So yeah, I did some yellows and greens there. There and there. Next, did the blues there, all the way there. Now you can see that. And now the green, the green's already done. So now the purples and pinks were here. Yeah, purples and pinks. It's hard to tell. So I used a very specific purple that looks kind of bluish. But yeah, purples and pinks for those 6 done. And now I went with these ones. I think this was mostly the Poscas. I think, if I remember that correctly. Maybe. I think this was the smaller nibbed Posca markers I bought recently. I think. And so I guess I got way too invested and didn't record or didn't take a picture of each color being applied to those 6. But you get the idea. Okay. Alright. Okay, next. Alright, now I have a new set of paint markers with brush nibs, and so I was trying that out. The ones that are in my box, my black box. If you've seen some of my previous videos, you might know what those ones are. But they're packed away in a bag, and I don't feel like pulling them out right now. So, that is those markers on that row. Then more colors done here. Some of them are really light, so they're like, they don't like show up very much on a white surface. So I did end up going over some of them multiple times with different colors because I didn't like the end result being like, oh my gosh, that's very close to white. You know, it's just a little tint of another color. So it didn't really show up very well. So a lot of them I did, I did the light color and I'm like, ugh, I don't like that on this background. So I'm gonna go over it and hope that it's not noticeable which ones I went over in the end result, which I don't think it is. So, don't think you would be able to figure out where that was in there. So, then more colors. I had a couple sets of paint markers, so I wanted to try them out. And then I did all this. I think we'll start over here. And yeah, you can see some of the strokes, but that's the point. That's like, it shows that it's done by hand and not a machine, you know? So that is what these look like up close. There. So these are not yet finished. That'll be a tomorrow task. So these are where they are right now, I believe. I don't know if I have any more photos. I think I have one more, yeah. And I am, oh my gosh, there's a shadow there. Whoopsie. So this is the final result of what they're at the end of today. So this is what they look like at the end of today. Now, I don't know if I'm going to end up abandoning this project again and coming back to it in a year from now. But I'm very curious to see what this is going to look like all together once put together. So, as crazy as the color clashing is going to be, I'm very curious to see what it looks like. Sorry about the shadow there. I didn't realize that. So, there these pieces are. So, that is where they are at today. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Now, I'm curious, would you ever try this painting each individual customizable puzzle piece like I did project for yourself? Would you ever try it on your own? Or you could also, if you wanted to try this, get a few friends over and have each friend group do, I don't know, 100 pieces, you know, 50 to 100 pieces. It's actually pretty quick if you don't have super detailed pieces. It actually goes by quite quickly. If you just focus on one, it doesn't take too long. I mean, that all depends on how much detail each piece has, but because it's so small, you can get a lot done, you know, in so much time, kind of thing. So this might be a fun activity if you have some art friends and everything, and you want to paint together, have a paint night, and then once all the pieces are dry, you put them together and see how it looks, because I feel like it's going to be really fun to see how this looks, as mismatched and unique as it's going to be together. I think it's going to be cool. But anyway, that is where it's at right now. I will work on this more tomorrow and update you on the process. But this is where it's at currently.